Morning all, how are we doing? Morning Andy, morning Themba, morning Stevie, morning Ladder. We've got a quick gap fill potential this morning on DAX. I'm not taking it at the moment this morning. I've just put a sell stop in short. Just based on what's going on in Ukraine at the minute. Obviously, there's a lot of shelling going on at the moment. Kiev's just been hit, Lviv's been hit. There's a few places going up. Zelensky's office potentially has been taken out. So I've got some short positions on. I've got a short position just about to get on now. I think we may get a drop at the open, obviously with what's going on there. So morning Diamond, happy Monday. Yeah, I think the markets might be a bit weak this morning. We've also got obviously the US is shut today. So we're going to have a fairly, potentially a fairly quiet session today. But obviously we may get some big drops in the indices. So we'll see what happens. Morning, Daddy. Daddypreneur, good name. So just running through the news this morning, overnight. Not a lot over the weekend. Obviously, main news this morning is Ukraine. And the main news over the weekend is Ukraine. So obviously, the bridge to the Crimea was taken out over the weekend by Ukraine. And the Russians obviously have repaired some of it to get some of it going again. But obviously, their retaliation this morning is to bomb Kiev. So it's all starting to escalate over there this morning. So we need to just keep an eye on the markets at any point. If Putin comes out or Zelensky comes out and says anything, or anybody says anything, to be honest about it, we could have a big move in the market this morning. We're going to have a lot of slippage as well. There's going to be light liquidity today, obviously because of the bank holidays. So we should be aware of slippage today, and that goes across all markets as well with FX. So we'll see what happens. It might be nothing. Nothing might happen at all. But obviously it is happening. It's whether or not the market is skittish about this. We're at, what's the fear and greed index? The last one. Obviously it'll be different this morning. Yeah, extreme fear. So they'll jump ship fast out the market this morning. So you just be careful. So I've got that short, which I've just put on. It's 0.5% risk. I got in fairly aggressive because I wanted to have a position on ahead of the open just to see if I can take advantage of any fast drops. But we'll see. I've got on at the moment a Euro Swiss short. This was my mistake. I forgot to turn the EA off on Euro Swiss on Friday. Morning, Jane. So it got me into another position short. I've just put a break-even stop on that just to get out of that one this morning. So I mean, if it collapses, fantastic, yeah. But it's an accidental trade. Didn't mean to get into that one. Euro Swiss obviously is not extended anywhere. We're kind of flat line on it. The trade was there, the one that I took, as you can see. But I forgot to turn the EA off, so it's taken a trade for me. So I'm just going to get out of that, one way or the other. Oil, I've got one long. So I had the EA running to get me long on oil. I'm not too worried where I get into oil, to be honest. I missed this on Friday, which is so annoying. There's my trade from last week, from Wednesday. Got out as we pushed down. So basically, as we started to push up here, we had very little movement on Tuesday. So on Wednesday, we didn't seem to be going anywhere either. So as we started that little push up, I put a trailer on, got taken out by the trailer just before it went absolutely crazy. So I got out of it, obviously, just before the rally. So I've left the EA running to get me into another position. I think we've got some really good movement on oil, especially with what's going on this morning with the potential kickoff in Ukraine. So got 3 minutes to the open. So yeah, I've just got an oil on. If we pull back into this propulsion gap, that's fine. I don't mind. There is potential, obviously, for a bigger pullback on this. So we might get a much larger move anywhere back down to sort of retest this area, which, if it happens, it happens, and I'm in it. So I will just scale in accordingly. But I don't think we're going to get too much of a pullback on oil. I think it's on its way now, especially after that move on Friday. So we've broken above the 24.72. This is where we're heading, the $110 to $100 a barrel. So yeah, we'll see if we get up to there over the next sort of week or so. But they're calling this before Christmas, and after that move we had on Friday, I think we're going to get there way before that. But we'll see. This could just be a pullback in a continuation. I don't think it is, but anyway. So I'm on that, and I've got the pound US dollar still, which I've got the short on. That's still just, it's better. Look at my my lovely break-even support line holding very nicely. Look, there's my break-even, and it's acting as beautiful support at the moment. So hopefully that support breaks today. Come down or not on pound US. But yeah, so we'll see. But we might get a weak US dollar this morning as well. We'll see what happens there. Right. So that's where I am. That's my position. Did 6% last week. Good week last week. Let's just watch the DAX quickly at the open. We've got 1 minute. We've got 46 seconds to the open. Just want to quickly see what happens with this trade this morning. I might stop out on this. I've got it running on the funded accounts as well. My Forex funds and on E8. I'm just going to try and milk this. I've got a slightly larger stop on my E8 and my Forex funds accounts. So I've up to here. So I've got a bigger stop on it. Obviously, if we come up to this sort of level, I think we're probably going to run for the gap this morning. So hence having a bigger, wider stop. I've taken a bit of a fight on this one. In fact, I didn't really want to get in with this much size, but anyway, I have. One second, market's open. We'll have a look at the news in a second, what we've got coming up this week. See how the market opens this morning. Yeah, it's not as weak as I thought it was going to be. I'm going to stop out on that. I was thinking that was going to go down a lot faster and harder than that, but it hasn't. So can't make its mind up, can it? The reason I'm taking this short preemptively ahead of the open is I think this morning, because obviously we've got no session this afternoon, I think we're going to have the moves done and dusted pretty quick this morning, whichever way they're going. I think they're just going to get there quickly. So I wanted to try and get in early and take advantage of that. Because I think we're going to have a fairly sideways morning, and obviously this afternoon, because there's no market in the US, we're going to have a quiet afternoon. So stops there basically on the funded trades. Still in it. Bit whippy. No, stop that. Oh, not quite. Not quite. God, literally, that missed me by... Oh, there, no, now I'm stopped out. Right. Okay, so I'm stopped out of that one. So it looks like we might be going for the gap fill. I'm not going to play this morning, though. Not worth it. Hassle. Right. So this morning, we've got, obviously, no trading this afternoon. We've got bank holiday in Japan. We've got bank holiday US, bank holiday Canada. We've got Brainard speaking later on, but there's obviously no session this afternoon. Quite often we find it's either one of two things happens. We either get like very large moves on those currencies that are having their holidays, the markets take advantage of that, or we get a flatline sort of situation. So be prepared for a fairly range-bound day today. So nothing much going on this afternoon. Tomorrow we've got not a lot of news either. We've got Bailey speaking tomorrow evening. They have announced more intervention, the Bank of England. So there is potentially more coming. There's been a bit of news this morning about Bank of England intervention. They're ready to do more if needed, as needed. So they're standing by to prop up the pound, basically. So we might have some more announcements out of Bailey this evening, which might affect the pound either positively or negatively. So we'll have to wait and see what happens on that. It looks like they're going for that gap fill very fast. Look. I've got 1 minute left on the opening range still. No news today really to speak of. We've got the GDP for the pound tomorrow morning at 7 o'clock. GDP doesn't really tend to do an awful lot. It's not a leading indicator. It's a byproduct of what they do with monetary policy. So we've got that coming out tomorrow morning. We've then got the PPI tomorrow afternoon for US dollar ahead of FOMC on Wednesday, ahead of FOMC on Wednesday evening. We've got the G20 meetings as well. Again, there may be stuff coming out of that to do with Ukraine, depending on how Ukraine sort of develops over the coming days. But FOMC obviously is the big one on Wednesday. So we're leading up to this FOMC week. We tend to get quite a lot of movement, obviously, on FOMC. So it's a case of, depending on what is said there, will depend on the impact that we have. Sometimes we have a flat FOMC and it does absolutely nothing. Sometimes it goes absolutely crazy. We have 300% ADR moves. We just don't know until it happens, do we? So up until FOMC, we tend to find the market reaching for liquidity, taking out liquidity ahead of FOMC, ready to make the move. So we'll be reaching potentially for liquidity tomorrow. We're not going to do an awful lot today. Tomorrow, I think we're going to have some pretty big ADR moves. So that's on Wednesday evening. Then on Thursday, we've got the CPI figures coming out. Obviously, that's the biggie. Consumer price inflation is obviously what we're all worried about at the moment. So that's going to have a big impact on Thursday. So it's all happening tail end of this week. And then we've got retail sales, which again is another big one, and the University of Michigan. So, and I've got Bailey speaking on Saturday. Where's that? International Banking Seminar at the weekend in Washington. So potential for over weekend gaps as well this weekend. We just got gap fill done. Low gap fills done. Market's running hard this morning. Interesting. So there's your news for the week. So all focused around Wednesday evening, Thursday morning. That's when our main news is coming this week. So we'll be very interested to see how that plays out. As I said, not a massive amount of over weekend news, mainly about Ukraine. So Ukraine basically, obviously, this is unconfirmed yet whether Zelensky's office has been destroyed. And obviously, no idea where he is. We haven't heard anything yet. So, could well be he was in his office and it's been destroyed. We haven't got a clue yet. So this is why I'm saying be careful this morning, because we could have any kind of announcement coming out this morning. Obviously, if Zelensky's been taken out, that's going to be a big one. President Zelensky's office in Kiev was destroyed, yeah. That's Ukrainian media that's coming out of. Okay, so that's a little bit more credible that the office has actually been destroyed, but we've got no idea where Zelensky is, have we? So a loud blast heard in Russia's Belgorod. Where's that? Okay, so yeah, all kicking off this morning. And why are the markets rallying? Normally, if we're in an extreme fear situation, you would find it would be completely the opposite. But so we just had gap fill this morning. I'm going to try a sell stop under the low there. See if this is literally just a gap fill and run this morning. Shouldn't really be scalping on this account, but I am, so hey. Fairly decent stops this morning. Might have a bit of volatility and a little bit of slippage. So, okay, so I'm short one. Pound's pushing up on looks like maybe we've got a bit of weakness coming through on the US dollar at the open as well. Yeah, so we've got weak US dollar, which is why we're getting this push. Okay, so just going to watch that for a minute. Right. If anybody's got anything specific to look at, obviously let me know. Belgorod is a Russian military base about 30 kilometers from the Ukraine border up near Kharkiv. Right, okay. So not far from Ukraine. So that could be Ukraine's retaliation. They're getting a bit aggressive, aren't they, Ukraine? Taking out that bridge, bombing Russian territory, if that is a bomb, obviously. It could just be some idiot in a tank hit the wrong button while he was cleaning it and blew something up. You never know. Things have happened, didn't they? But yeah, there's a lot going on this morning. So just be very, 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 very careful. Tight stops, not tight stops, but I mean, just make sure you're using your stop this morning. If something's going to go crazy, you want to, and it's going to go the opposite way. You don't want to be without a stop this morning. Right. So let's have a look at the markets and where we are. They've hit Belgorod before, have they? All right, okay. Not a new thing then. It's obviously within easy striking distance, I guess. So looking at the dashboards, ADR, we've got no ADR hits so far this morning, as you would expect, because we haven't had much of an Asian session. Weeklies, nothing's been hit, obviously, because we haven't had any ADR hits, and it's the first day of the week. Monthlies, we had nothing hit last week, which is a little bit unusual at the moment. We're used to mass volatility at the moment, and we're getting these monthlies triggering quite early on in the month, but we've had nothing hit so far. So nothing to look at on the ADR dash this morning, all flat. The 4-hour RSIs, we've only got a couple, and those are Aussies. I'm going to run through all the pairs quickly this morning, but I don't think we're going to get a lot of movement today, to be honest. So I think really tomorrow is going to be the main day. We're going to start to see some movement. So Aussie CAD, very, very, very extended. Big, strong move to the downside on that one. We're nicely extended below the 25 level. So at the moment where we are, there's a nice mean reversion opportunity, but obviously it is counter trend. So we are in a big downtrend on this one. Canadian dollar potentially strengthening up on the US with the US dollar. But if we've got a weak US dollar this morning, obviously we probably see that Aussie CAD take advantage of that weakness. So good potential mean reversion opportunity there this morning. Reversal alert's quite tight on this one as well. So nice little stop there, 25 pip stop potentially. 5 minute, you're just about to get a reversal, just taking out the liquidity at the lows down there as well this morning. So nice 3-bar reversal going on, just about to get a reversal alert on that one. Decent target there to aim for. You're taking a scalp. But obviously longer term, this one's got a lot longer to go. So we're nicely extended, obviously, on the hourly as well. If we're extended on the 4 hourly, most of the time we are extended on the hourly. Jesus, what are you doing to me this morning? You see my stop on this obviously is up here. There is potential for us to come up and get this proper gap fill done. So yeah, so obviously Aussie CAD very nicely extended, good mean reversion opportunity on that one. Decent target there as well to aim for, which is going to be 125 ADR. You'd be very unlikely to hit an ADR today, I think, but we will see. So we got that one. And we've also got the Aussie US, again, US dollar, a little bit weak. sorry, a little bit strong over the last couple of days, obviously, as you can see. This one's obviously starting to play out at the moment. So again, nicely extended. We've just taken this liquidity down at these lows, or we are just in the process of taking it. If this is an H4 swing, blimey. Okay, stopped out on the DAX, I think. Just watching on my other monitor. Oh no, I'm not. Sorry, I forgot how far away I was. Jesus, what is going on with this thing this morning? Really strong market this morning. I'm not quite sure why this is so strong this morning with what's going on. Normally you would see completely the opposite happening to this. So they're obviously reaching for something. Profit take move on obviously the massive weakness we've had. We've had 2 good big down days. So it looks like a profit take move at the moment. I think I'll leave that alone this morning if I stop out on that one. So yeah, 4 hours. Big opportunity for a mean reversion there. We're just about to get a 15-minute reversal alert. So we are seeing some decent strength on that. This is US dollar weakness this morning that's causing this, not Aussie strength. So good mean reversion opportunity there on the 4 hour as well. So 5 minute, you're just about to get a reversal alert. Both of these looking pretty much the same. The reversal alerts on 5 minute and on the 15. So decent mean reversion opportunity again on that one, but obviously bear in mind you are counter trend. So obviously when this starts to play out, protect it. There's every opportunity this is going to come down and continue with the current trend at the moment on that one. So that's all we've got on the 4 hours. On the hourlies, it's the same thing. We've got the Aussie CAD. Nicely extended down here on the hourly, so likely to get some kind of pullback, mean reversion. You've got a decent target there to aim for. There's obviously a propulsion gap there, there's one there, and potentially that is going to be your resistance on the way back up, if it's going to go back up. You've got this accumulation obviously as well, but this is kind of overnight, Sunday, Monday, so can't really see that being the resistance. It's more likely going to be up in here somewhere. So good opportunity there on the Aussie CAD, Aussie Swiss. Nice move already started on that one. On the M5, you've probably missed the reverse alert. It's just retesting at the moment. So we just had the reverse alert. It's just retesting potentially for a move up on that one. Aussie dollar yen. So it's all about the Aussie at the moment, obviously with the Asian session. So I was just watching. So that's your gap fill complete now on the DAX. I'm quite surprised I went for that this morning. So potentially we might start a movement down here. Let me just quickly look at where we were on that Aussie yen. Yeah, so Aussie yen, again, this is counter trend. Well, say it's counter trend. Potentially, obviously, if we're going to get this yen strength, which they keep promising, it doesn't seem to be happening, this is potentially where we're going to start to see that sort of price action. So this could well be the start of a downtrend, obviously, with the yen strength. So nicely extended. M5, you haven't had the reverse alert on that one just yet, but it is extended, just about ready to take a profit take. And Aussie US, which we've already covered. I'm just wondering if this is just literally a gap fill play, and then we're going to go off from there. So I was still got 2.5, 3 minutes left on this candle, but we're at an area where potentially we might start to see this turn and run. So I'm not going to add to it there, but I'm going to see what's happening. So yeah, so there's your hourlies. If you're using the 14, there's a lot more opportunities, obviously, because it's a much faster one, but obviously you're not going to get into more sessions potentially dangerously. So yeah, so that's it on those. There's nothing really to look at particularly exciting. Euro Swiss, I've stopped out of that break even after that little entry this morning, which I didn't want to take. Oil still pushing, which is nice. And US isn't going anywhere. Right. Morning, Lavelle. Welcome to the stream. Right, I will go through all the pairs. So I'm just keeping an eye on the news, just to see if there's anything kicking off this morning, because I'm quite keen to keep an eye on this DAX as well. God. Yeah, Taiwan over the weekend came out and also said that, you know, fighting isn't the way forward, China, and this is obviously China's response, which is sticking two fingers up and saying, "Don't care, we're not interested," basically. So there's a lot of tensions going on over there as well. Interesting. A lot going on at the minute. Kind of keen to try and take advantage of some of this movement, but I just got a feeling it's going to be down today rather than up, but I might be completely wrong. Anyway, Lavelle, please tell me more about your EA. Does it has a days to trade filter? No, stopped out on that DAX. Which EA are you talking about? Market Reversal Alerts EA or the Price Action Toolkit? You can see, I mean, you can answer these questions yourself, Lavelle. Just go into the EA and have a look. Yeah, all the settings, the website, you know, if you want to answer any questions about anything, yeah, go to the website. Yeah, there's a massive video there, which gives you, it's about 2 hours long, 2.5 hours long. It gives you everything you could ever want to know about the EA. It goes through every single setting in the EA. There is also a manual for the EA, which has got every single setting covered, exactly what the settings do, how to use it, what it does. It's very, very comprehensive. It's probably the most complex EA you will find in the market, therefore one of the most powerful. So I can't really answer too many questions about it because we could be here for, like I said, 2.5 hours I did a video on. So it's all covered in here, all the settings. Yeah, so just go and have a look. But yeah, there's no day filter on it now. Day filters, I don't think have any use whatsoever with this type of EA. If you're using a day strategy, yeah, fine, use a day filter. But if you're using if you're trading intraday, day filters are no use whatsoever, really. It's not up to you or anybody else to tell the market which days it's going to move. Yeah, the market will move when the market moves. The market is driven by fundamentals and it's driven by news. So if Russia bomb Ukraine, the market's going to move. And if you said I don't trade on Mondays, well, you're stupid because the market's moving on Monday. It's Monday and the DAX is going through the roof. Yeah, this is market movement. So, you know, it doesn't make any difference. Day strategies. So if you're one of these people that tries to trade things like the midweek reversals and, you know, all these turnaround Tuesdays, and there's lots of names for these particular days, and there are phenomena that happen on those days, but that phenomena isn't driven by the day. It's driven by what the market run up was to that day and what news is coming out. So I can tell you we're going to have a midweek reversal this week. Why? Because it's FOMC. It's got nothing to do with the fact that anything but FOMC is always held on a Wednesday. Not you know, day filters are just not really. I've tested it to death. I've been in strategy quant. I've tested more than, oh God knows how many million combinations of day trade strategies in strategy quant. My strategy quant can generate over 2 million strategies an hour, and I've tested days to death. There is no edge to it entering on a particular day or not. Trust me, I've tested it probably 1 billion times, and that's not an exaggeration. I can generate 2 million strategies an hour with combinations of day entries and indicators, and I have not found an edge on a day ever. So yeah, I don't use them, but that was a really long-winded explanation to a very simple question. Sorry about that. But yeah, they just don't mean anything really. Fridays are good. End of month is good. End of quarter is good. End of month and end of quarter rallies exist, but for reporting reasons and for people wanting to get to particular targets within periods. But days intraday, not quite as much. Aussie CAD. So let's run through the pairs. So I'm just watching this DAX. Let's go through the indices first and oil. Start there. So obviously with oil, we've had this big rally, which is still going on. I was looking for signs of weakness on Friday because we had 4-day rally, which is typically when we tend to get some kind of pullback happening. Either way, Friday, they just went through the roof. Obviously, we had a lot of news coming out of OPEC with the barrel production cuts and everything, which is coming in November. We had the oil inventories coming out as negative, so that was positive for oil pricing. So there was a lot that affected oil last week, and obviously we had that rallying into the announcement that they were going to do a 1.5 million barrel cut, which came out at 2, and then Friday it just went ballistic. So I was getting ready, as you saw. I jumped ship on my trade there because I was expecting a turnaround, some kind of pullback, ready to rally for the next move. Wow, this DAX is off the charts this morning. Should have taken the opening range high break this morning. Shoulda, woulda, coulda. If I'd have known that, I'd have taken it, wouldn't I? So yeah, oil pushing up again this morning. So we've had a little bit of a retracement and a little bit of a rally again this morning. So this thing's off the charts at the moment. It's very extended. We've been extended, obviously, it's all the way back here. So we're extended, we're embedded, and we're not going anywhere at the minute. So be prepared for some kind of pullback on this at some point. There's going to be a profit take move on this at some point, but obviously being a commodity and being a tangible product that we're trading with an actual price attached to a product, it will push and trend a lot harder. So you'll get these moves and you'll get accumulation pushes rather than pullbacks and pushes. So, the value of oil is going up. And all the time with what's going on in Ukraine, this price should be increasing. We've seen it coming down, haven't we? As we've had more intervention from different countries, more supply coming out of the US and all that sort of stuff. But overall, we should be looking for longs on it. So if this thing continues to pump this morning, fine. This is a hell of a move. Biggest move we've had, well, for a long time, that is. Obviously, we've had the big drops, but this is the biggest sustained push we've had for a long time. We've taken out the highs here, so they've gone now on Friday. We pushed through, rallied. Everybody was selling. Everyone that was selling these highs basically has puked, which is why we've got that big push through. So next target is coming up to there. By the time we get up to there, which is kind of 97.5, we're pretty much at target. So. Yeah, we could easily hit that this week, I think, the way this thing's going. We'll see. Indices, obviously, we started the turnaround on Thursday. So we had that nice big 2-day rally. This was the strongest 2-day push we've had on the indices for a long time. We obviously had a gap in the middle as well, which is what got filled on Friday, which is what I was shorting into. So, made some nice money out of that drop. But this morning, obviously, we are pulling back quite hard. Obviously, because we've got no market this afternoon, it's difficult to tell whether we are just going to... The danger today we've got with all these indices is obviously in the Globex session, we've still got a Globex session. But we could see just a rally and then just go into a holding pattern for the rest of today, which is quite possible. So, looking at the short-term charts, this is the move. That's it. That could well be it. And all we're going to do now is get chopped to death. So be careful if you're trading this today. Obviously, there's the option for this thing to go absolutely anywhere based on news, which all the markets will do. Don't forget, we've still got the Globex session in the US, yeah, so there is still automated trading happening. It's just we're not going to have an opening bell in New York this afternoon, so there'll be a lot less liquidity in the market. But, you know, there's people there watching this. If things happen, there will be orders placed. So things are going to move if something needs to be moved. But obviously the DAX, we are still in this massive downtrend. This is what we were expecting, what I was expecting to be the start of next leg down. So, you know, we can pull around in here and keep going down as long as we don't break these highs. If we break these highs, then obviously that would indicate that we are just literally in a pullback before our second scenario, which is a deep pullback above the 72. Yeah, so this is a 24 bounce. So one of those two things is happening. The strength of this drop that we had after this push would suggest that we are starting next leg down from here, but we'll see what happens. Obviously, this can all change depending on what happens with the situation in Ukraine at the moment. So, Nasdaq, a massive drop on the Nasdaq. Here's our dating site. First visit of the morning, a bit late this morning. Dating site. So yeah, big move down on the DAX this morning. Lovely reversal up at the 24, which is just textbook. We need to break this low, obviously, and if we do that, I think we're going to have quite a fast, hard flush down. So you're looking at previous moves. Remember, I've measured all this out. Yeah, so nice deep pullback. We're not due that yet. We're due more downside before we get that next big push orderly pullback. So what I'm looking for this to be, or was looking for this to be, was just to pull back to the 24, just one of these small pullbacks and then drop. So if we look at this section here, yeah, big drop down, 3-day pullback to the 24, a little bit more of a drop and a bump. Yeah, that's the kind of price action I think we're probably looking at now. It could just go from here, but we might get a little bit of a pullback and then another drop, but that's where I think we are in the cycle. So I think we've got further moves to the downside ahead of us. S&P, same thing, obviously big push and then pullback on end of last week, and there's our pullback into the 61.871 area in Fib. So if this is going to be another one of those, then this is likely where we're going to start to see some buyers entering into the market. Obviously, the people that are buying the pullbacks are buying these sorts of levels. So obviously, we need to see what happens tomorrow. Today is not really going to be any good indication. So whatever candle we get painted today on the US indices, kind of take it with a pinch of salt because there's no afternoon trading, so it's not a proper day. So we'll see. But that is going to be your best gauge, really, for what we're going to see coming up in the coming days, because today we are getting a proper day's worth of trading on the DAX during the Frankfurt session. So potentially a pullback up into this candle here, sort of do a 50% pullback. If we get up to there, that's where I'll start being interested in getting into short positions on it. Just 50% of yesterday's move. So up into these propulsion gaps. So you can see we've got one there, where the sellers stepped in last time. And then obviously we've got this big accumulation on Friday's open, which created that big propulsion gap, which again got defended by the sellers. So we've definitely got a lot of sellers on board at the moment. We're just looking for an area where they're likely to step back in again. And up there, which is going to be roughly a 50% move on Friday, is where I'd expect it to happen. Or from the gap, but the gap obviously seems to have filled and they're still going. So this is where I'll be looking for entries somewhere around anywhere between 123.18, 123.58, somewhere in there. I'd initially look for another entry short if we get there. Just going to set a little alert up on that. Right, so there's your indices done, and oil, gold. We had some movement. Obviously, in that pullback, remember saying you want to be shorting gold based on US dollar strength. We got all that US dollar strength, and obviously gold started to come back down again. So gold, you can kind of trade in a very similar way to the indices at the minute. Gold does have its own life. You know, it will move on its own when big gold transactions are happening, but primarily it is just another US dollar cross. So any strength on the US dollar, this will come down in the same way that pound US dollar will, euro US dollar will, Aussie US dollar, etc. will as well. But we've also got, every time the US dollar pushes, we tend to get a decline on the indices. So this is moving very similar at the moment to the indices. So, you know, all the US indices and that, we're seeing very similar price action. So again, same as with these indices, that's the sort of movement that I'd be looking for, or just a continuation drop from where we are. So it looks like it's pretty heavy so far this morning during the Asian session. Yeah, it's coming down quite nicely. So I'll be looking for short opportunities on gold. Just had the reverse alert there on the 4 hour. So again, we could get a retest of that area and then drop down from there, or it could just basically be coming down. So we will see what happens with that. But yeah, gold's looking pretty much the same as the indices at the minute. And obviously that's looking the same as all your crypto stuff. So crypto's dead. Has been dead for since June. Just dead, flatlined, nothing happening at all anywhere. So, but I mean, still, if you look at it, zoom in, it's looking much like the indices, isn't it? We're looking for short opportunities on it at the moment, moving into recession. There's nothing new come out of the Fed. Ukraine Defense Ministry vows revenge for Monday's strikes on the country. Yeah. Yes, there's nothing much come out of the Fed over the weekend. Wednesday is obviously when we are going to find out what their monetary policy stance is. We'll get some clues coming out of that. But I suspect the CPI figures will jivvy the US dollar along. So I'm expecting a strong US dollar towards the tail end of this week, which means that we should be looking for drops in the indices and gold and things like Bitcoin. So shorts, but obviously that's Wednesday. So we've got a couple of days where we may get a little bit of a rally across the board, but we'll see what happens today. Obviously, there's not a lot happening today, so the market's shut. Right, looking at the Aussies. So Aussie dollars basically weak. We had the rate announcements and everything coming out of the Aussie in New Zealand. The Aussies decided not to put their rates up by 0.5%. They're the only country so far that has done this. So it's not good news for the Aussies. Basically, when we get their inflation figures, if their inflation figures are big and they are higher than expected, obviously that is not going to be good for the Australian dollar, because what it means is that inflation is still rising and they haven't increased their interest rates to try and get on top of it, which is going to stagnate the economy even more. So I can't bring myself to obviously long anything Aussie at the minute based on what they're doing. So looking for opportunities ideally to get in on pullbacks on these, obviously all in big downtrends at the minute. So it's difficult really to find an opportunity to get in there. So even on the hourly, you know, you're just not getting any RSI extensions because we haven't got big, strong enough moves to the upside. So again, this is where you can sort of start to look with these big, strong trenders, you know, start to look at, if you want to look at the 14 RSI, it's going to give you some more opportunities to get in. Not even on this one, to be honest. And some entries there on the 14, just about you would have got that short there. But, you know, as I said, there's not a massive difference I found using the 14 or the 21. It doesn't give you, it gives you a few more opportunities to get in, but it also will get you into squeezes a lot faster. And with the speed things are moving at in this market, just squeezes are not the thing you want to get into when you've got so many big, strong movements going on, big, strong trends. If you get into a squeeze at the wrong end of a trend, like we did with the Euro New Zealand, it can be painful, can't it? So I'd much rather just wait for a good opportunity to get in short. So any ADR hits to the upside, I'll be looking for short opportunities on the Aussies. If they come at areas of resistance, even better. But at the moment, things just tanking. It's very difficult to get on board at the minute. Aussie Aussie dollar Swiss, same thing. Yeah, it's a short. Swiss franc strength. Just waiting for an opportunity to get in on this one as well. Haven't managed to find one apart from the trade there, which was lovely. But yeah, just waiting for opportunities on this. Obviously, with all of these, you can take mean reversions. Yeah, we got, Aussie dollar CAD is extended on the 4 hour at the moment. So there is opportunities to get in from a mean reversion perspective. But obviously, you're taking a mean reversion trade against the trend. Yeah, look at this morning. When we looked at this morning, we were just about to get a reverse alert, weren't we? And now look at it. Yeah, so this is the danger of mean reversion trading against the trend. You get the alerts still, obviously, but they will get invalidated as market structure continues to the downside. So just be careful trying to long any of these Aussies at the minute. They are very, very weak. The market was not impressed with that rate increase last week. So don't really want to be getting long, ideally. Aussie yen is the only thing I potentially would get long on. I'm still very, very undecided on the yen. Just talk. That's all we're getting coming out of Japan at the moment about how they're going to intervene. No evidence of any big, strong intervention coming through. Still. Just watching the DAX on my other chart, sorry. Just want to see if this candle closes back down. Otherwise, this is a 3-bar reversal. If we close back down below that high, we might be running out of steam here. What's that? Aussie yen. So yeah, Aussie yen. So yen's, I think, obviously, potentially good opportunity to short everything against the yen. We still have had nothing. I keep watching to see if we're going to get more coming out of the Bank of Japan, meaningful intervention news, and we're not. There's just nothing happening. So we just got to play it, I think, by ear at the minute. I'm more biased to take shorts against everything yen at the minute, but I don't think that strength of movement is going to be there. So you want to pick the weak currencies at the minute. So things like the euro, the pound, and the Aussie are all good currencies to trade short against the yen. Because when we do get that little bit of extra strength, as we saw here with the intervention news there, when we do get that little bit of strength, the yen will power up and it will smash through absolutely everything when it does. But at the minute, not really going anywhere. So didn't get that close. Still remain bullish on it up to there. Aussie yen, Aussie New Zealand. I still like this long. Yeah, it's just a lovely long. I didn't take. Let me just clear my charts up a minute. I didn't take that one. I said about it and I brought everybody's attention to it, but I didn't take it myself. I had something else on at the time. I can't remember what it was. I think it was probably just the pound US that I was in a little bit too deep on. So, but I've been waiting for an opportunity. We didn't quite get the extension on the 4 hour. We were very, very, very close, which is why I was umming and ahhing about taking it. And I almost did. Is a lovely area to get into down here, but it all happened too fast because it happened on news. So this was the news spike. We missed that opportunity because it was literally just down and straight back up again. You just didn't get a chance to get in on the position. Then it came back down and retested, and that was the entry on M5, which I said that's one to take, which was the second test of the support bounce, and it bounced off beautifully. It's coming down at the moment. And, you know, as I say, I love this as a long. Now, I'm not as keen on it as a long because of what the Aussies did with their rates. New Zealand came out at 0.5%. They did exactly what they said on the tin. So a little bit more strength on the New Zealand dollar. The Aussie is a much bigger economy, though, as you can see. When you've got, even if these are both weak, which they have been, the Aussie will usually trump it. But the Aussie is basically screwed itself with the rates. So it all depends what happens with the interest rates moving forward with this one. But I still kind of like it long. But again, I'm following my rules. I'm not taking any trades until we get a decent strength of movement down here, so that I know we're very extended and we need to do that profit take move in line with the trend. So if we can get back down below this level and come and try and do a liquidity run down here, I'd be interested in longing this, but right now where we are, not quite. Hourly, we're not there. So again, an hourly extension on this, you could take an H1M5 entry long. This will be the first hourly RSI extension, if we can get a push down today, that we'll have had on this for a long time. So again, good opportunity. The last entry we had was here. Look. So again, be interested in taking some longs on it down there, but we've got to get down there first. So Aussie New Zealand, like it as a long. Aussie US short. Again, very hard to get into this one. It's collapsed. We went into an accumulation and it's just collapsed again. So just couldn't get in on any time frame. It's very, very difficult to get into these things at the minute. So again, like it as a short. If you want to take any kind of short signals on it, do it. Any kind of pullback into this accumulation, shorts, yeah. So you could take M5 reversals, M15 reversals if you want to, if you don't want to use the RSI. But as I say, I'm just waiting for those big signs of strength to get into these bigger moves. So I know we're really extended, really stretched, ready to go. But at the moment, this thing's just collapsing. Strong US dollar. This might be it today. This could be the start of an accumulation. If we do get up to there, I'm very, very interested in shorting out of here. But it's taken 1% off me this morning, so I'm not going to push it. I'm not really getting anywhere at the minute, is it? Right, CAD Swiss, short at the moment. The Swiss franc, obviously, since the intervention and the rate change, has been very, very strong. We've got decent CAD figures coming out. We've got oil going up. The Swiss franc is still going to remain strong, though. So I like this as a short anytime, but this is kind of one of those pairs, really, you could trade in either direction. I'd much rather be looking short on it, though, at the moment. But I get the feeling what we might do is just go into an accumulation on these, because these are both strengthening now. So obviously with strong currency against a strong currency, you get that push and pull, which causes those ranges and accumulations. So shorts at the highs, longs at the lows at the moment. So if we can get back up into there today, potentially you could take a short out of that. I'm waiting for the extension personally, but I like this as a short still. This is holding very nicely. This is a lovely accumulation break there. So this propulsion gap holding very nicely at the minute. But if that breaks, we'll be looking to come up and grab the liquidity up there and then potentially run from there. So I like the look of this one as a short, just not in the right place at the moment. CAD yen, really undecided on this one. So is the market, obviously. So we had the intervention news from the yen, that big push down. And since we had that intervention, we've had nothing but radio silence. And the market's like, well, yeah, come on then. You said you're going to intervene. What are you doing? And they're not interested. It's pretty much the same as the UK. Quasi saying, we've got this plan to get out. What is the plan then? I don't know. Tell you in a couple of months' time. So you haven't got a plan, have you? And that's, I think, what we saw with Japan. We saw the intervention. We saw the strength come through in the yen. And since then, they've gone, actually, no, we're not quite sure. So the market is, again, very unsure with the yen at the minute. So I don't really know what to do with it. Therefore, I'm doing nothing with it. Same with the Swiss yen. Intervention, Swiss franc rates, boom, not sure. But overall, I get the feeling we are going to get something coming. But I've had this, you've been in here for a while. I've been talking about this yen intervention for months and months, waiting for them to do something, and they announce it and don't do anything. And that is literally all we get out of Japan. But when it happens, if it happens, you don't want to be on the wrong side of this. So I'm loath to take a long, although the market is saying, this is a massive long. And I'm loath to take a short at the minute. So I just really cannot make up my mind on these yens. So short term, do what you like. Short term trading, you can take reversal alerts long, take reversal alerts short. You can trade low time frame RSIs, extensions, do what you want with them. There's opportunities to trade it. If you're going to be trading it with a stop, You know, you've got plenty of opportunities, but for me, I want to get into a position trade on it. I don't know what to do, so I'm not taking it at the minute. But I'm erring on the side of short than long with all yens at the moment. Everything against the yen, shorting. So but again, it's just not in the right spot at all at the minute. Euro odd. Obviously, the euro has taken advantage, same as the euro New Zealand, which we'll look at in a second. We had that peak formation low put in down there. It's been lovely market structure on this one. We've had a very, very weak Australian dollar. We've had a very, very weak New Zealand dollar. And it's kind of continued in that vein for weeks and weeks. And it's the same thing with the Aussie, with the euro New Zealand. Yeah, this thing was a nasty, nasty, nasty squeeze. They big short squeeze, not interested in letting anybody out of that one. But at the moment, we've gone into like very high volatility mode up here with all the rate announcements from the Aussie. The euro is still in trouble. The euro is still weak. It's just obviously if you get something really weak like the Aussie is at the minute, you're going to get the euro taking advantage of it. I still like it short, although we are now looking as if we are in an uptrend on this, which we are. I still like it fundamentally as a short. The Eurozone is in a bit of trouble at the minute, obviously. We've got what's going on in Ukraine going on at the moment. I don't think the euro should be this strong, and it's not really this strong. It's just because the Aussie is so weak, it's making the euro odd obviously look strong, but it's not. So I would still be looking for short opportunities on this one, on euro odd. We're getting back up. If we come up and retest that high again, you know, if we overshoot it slightly, that's fine. But that's where I'll be looking for short opportunities on that one. Same with the euro New Zealand. Obviously, New Zealand, you can see how this one has fared a little better. New Zealand rates have driven this one back down now. So again, you could call this a flag. It could break to the upside. Again, New Zealand getting on top of their rates, interest rates, a lot better than most. And they put their interest rates up as well. So yeah, I like it. Inflation is, they're on top of inflation and interest rates as well. So yeah, like this one as a short as well. Want an opportunity to get in on it at the moment. That was your trade after the big strong push. We had an entry there, and you'd be out of that one, which would be lovely. But at the moment, just waiting for an opportunity to get in on the 4 hour. The rest of the euros, obviously, we know everything is a short. So we've had this temporary strength coming through on the euro CAD based on the rates. So we were going long on the euro. Well, we weren't. I wasn't. The market was going long on the euro, waiting for the rate announcement. The rate announcement came out. The market was not impressed. Since then, we've had a little bit of a push because we've had things like the CAD being weak, the Aussie being weak, the New Zealand being weak. So the euro's been able to take advantage. So where the euro was the whipping boy, and whatever the other currency did, it got pushed around. It's now got a little bit more strength, the euro, than it had. So it can make its own sort of independent moves a lot easier, I think, which is why we're seeing a bit more volatility coming through in it. But overall, still like it's short. There was a lovely entry on it last week on the Euro CAD up here. A nice big M. And yeah, lovely little short. So I think it's nice for shorts. We've just had the 4 hour reversal alert. So any kind of retest on that you could get into. So again, this is the best zone. As soon as you get these 4 hour reversal alerts and you've got a bias on it, you know, when it gets back into there, that's what you're creating, is that M pattern reversal. That's what the retest is. So this is a great area to start looking for shorts if we get up to there and get into RSI territory on EuroCAD. Euro Swiss never got out of the 72 really. Down. So yeah, same thing. Obviously we got the new low put in and then we've pushed back up. Haven't managed to make that new high yet. So as long as that high holds, this is just pullback continuation. So be looking for short opportunities on it. Nice entry from here. That would have been your first entry, second entry. Nice exit on Euro Swiss. Euro Pound, don't bother. Unnaturally inflated ADR on this. This is a 45 to 50 ADR. pair. Obviously, with this huge bank intervention move, the ADRs are all shot on the pound pairs at the minute. You can see what normal price action is like on this. It's just horrible, rangy, sidewaysy stuff. So great pair for somebody contacted me about the EA, and they were saying they've been running the hedging set file on the EA, and it's been doing very well for 4 months. They've been absolutely milking it, but they've got a pair where they are getting squeezed in one direction and can't get out at the minute. And this is one of those pairs which suits the hedging set file really, really nicely, because it's just such a sideways thing. But if you're going to tie up your capital, euro pound is probably not the best thing to tie up any euro and pound exposure on, because it's very, very slow moving and not got a lot of range. So, and again, it's just kind of sidewaysy at the moment. Interestingly, euro stronger than the pound. So I don't think there's any reason why that shouldn't carry on going. So if you get any extensions to the downside on it, those are the ones I'll be looking to take. But, you can kind of take anyone, really, on it, ignoring that. You'll get an out, but it's just not a very good pair to trade. So euro yen, same thing, shorts. So got a nice lower high structure going in and lower low structure going in at the moment. So shorts back down to there. There was your entries. Got an entry there, an entry there, and a short. If you wanted to trade the yen, say I've just been steering clear of this yen at the moment because I'm really not sure. It is playing out as I thought it was going to play out, but it's not playing out with any oomph. So I'm just not interested in the yen at the moment. I just don't know what's going on with it. And in these sorts of times, there's plenty of other pairs to trade. You don't have to trade the yen. There's lots of other stuff we can be trading. So I'd rather steer clear of it at the moment. Euro New Zealand are covered and Euro US is a short. So again, trying to find entries. Beautiful. This is, I'm in pound US, which is the same stuff. So I'm in the pound US version of this. Unfortunately, I wish I would much rather be in the Euro US, but yeah, lovely short. It's good luck trying to get back in. So again, with these, you've got to kind of pick a zone. You're never going to get an RSI extension back up there on this one. So if we do manage to get back up into there, we've got the reversal alert short on the 4 hour. So think ahead. Yeah, we've got the reversal alert. What comes after reversal alert quite often? A retest. Yeah. So there's your second short entry when you get that retest alert on the 4 hour. Obviously, you may not get one. There's a reversal alert we had previous on the 4 hour. Didn't come back and retest it. Didn't get back far enough just because of the speed and propulsion of that move. The propulsion gap held up and the buyers added to their positions and drove it straight back out again. So yeah, you may not get it, but looks good for shorts, obviously. Pound odd, again, this one's overshot, the pound odd. I like it as a short still, but you've got a weak currency against a weak currency. The Aussie has been much weaker, and obviously because of this rate announcement, when we had that bank intervention coming in, it just kind of flew straight through because we had strong pound off the Bank of England announcement that they were going to intervene and sort out the government's cock up. And as at that time, the Aussie weakened massively and we had that follow through. But where we are now, I like it short. But, the pound, no matter how weak it is, if the Aussie is going to be weaker than the pound, then this thing is going to go up. So it's one of those which is very difficult to get into now because we've got that kind of bias on it. So I still prefer the pound to be weak. We've got all sorts of weird and wonderful stuff going on in our government at the moment. There's U-turn after U-turn going in. There's no trust by our own government in our own prime minister. It's just utter mess. The whole country is in an utter mess with absolutely everything, it seems, at the moment. That's what it feels like to me at the minute anyway. So I just can't see any reason why you'd want to buy the pound at the minute. Fundamentally, we're stuffed from an economic perspective, we're stuffed from a government perspective, we're stuffed. It's all just going wrong. But it's going way worse for the Aussie from the market perspective at the moment because of what they did with their rates. Therefore, we get a little bit of movement. So, I'd much rather, if I was going to get into a position on this, i.e. a trade long term, it would be a short. Your entry was here. So anywhere from there, you would have entered short. you probably would have actually be out of this already, wouldn't you? So your first short entry was there, 350 ADR. So there's 500. So there's 1.5 ADR move to the upside. So you'd have been in again probably there. You'd been in again there, and you'd be out probably there. Might still be in it, but yes, pushing at the minute. But yeah, I like it short. Pound CAD, nice little short opportunity there. Canadian dollar strength being dragged along with the US dollar. That was coming down. So this is what I would expect the pound odd to have done if we didn't have such a weak Australian dollar, which is obviously giving it that opportunity to push that a little bit further. But you know, you can see the pound against other currencies isn't strong at the minute. It's just that the Aussie is much weaker than the pound. That's why we're getting that movement. Pound Swiss, same thing. Yeah. So government screw up, Bank of England intervention, back to where we were, continue the downtrend. Yeah. So shorts. There was your entry, but yeah, I think you had to be brave to get in on that entry because we had such a strong pound. But you know, everybody that got in speculatively long with the Bank of England intervention there, they're getting out now, and this is what you're seeing. You're seeing the profit take move on this buying basically. So everybody that's bought has to hit the sell button to exit, and that's what we're seeing. Sell rally starting. Pound yen, same thing as every other yen. Much prefer to be short. So the pound yen, the euro yen, the Aussie yen will all be my first choices for shorting. I took a euro yen short last week before, played out beautifully, and I'd be doing the same thing with any of these yens as we get pushes. So any ADR hits to the upside on things like this, I think would be good short opportunities. I'm just cautious with the yen. I think I would probably want to use a stop with the yen trades at the minute, and I'd want them to be also ideally at decent levels. So if we got a 125 ADR on this, for example, that would be a trade I'd be interested in taking. So we got very extended, and we were at a point where we've historically sold from. So those sorts of trades, but not particularly keen on them at the minute. Hourly, another extension on the US dollar. Pound New Zealand, same thing as the pound odd. Well, it's not the same thing as the pound odd now because New Zealand dollar is stronger than the Australian dollar temporarily. How long that's going to last, don't know. But yeah, like this one as a short. But again, it's still fairly weak against weak, although it is stronger than the Aussie at the minute. So very nicely extended up there. Obviously, you would have been in and you're already out of it if you'd have got into it. So be looking for short opportunities on it if we get any more RSI extensions or any ADR hits to the upside. So, you know, with all of these, you know, people ask me about the ADR indicator a lot. It's probably the one I get the most questions on is the ADR indicator and how to use it. And the simplest way to use the ADR indicator is to look at the trend. And, you know, if you are trending short, yeah, take ADR hits to the upside. If you are trending upwards, take ADR hits to the downside because they're typically pullbacks and profit take moves on continuations. Yeah. So if we get any ADR hits to the upside on any pound pairs and there's nothing fundamental that has made that pound suddenly go strong, like the Bank of England going, actually what we're going to do is print another 20 billion pound, then there's just likelihood of that being a pullback and you can take the drop on it. So pound New Zealand, like it as a short, be looking for opportunities to get in on that one. But anything up towards those highs really. Pound US dollar, I'm already short. We're not going anywhere at the moment, as you can see. This is likely what we're going to get today in a lot of the FX pairs. You know, the US is shut. The UK is not doing anything particularly much this morning. As I say, we either get that big, strong manipulation on. Typically, it happens a lot on the yen. When we have a bank holiday in Japan, we get a lot of yen movement. A lot of the time, they just basically move the yen around and make a load of money with it. But today we've got 3 bank holidays, so we're not really getting very far, are we? So I would be inclined to say that's probably the position I'm in now. Is probably the position I'm going to be in a bit later on today. So pound US dollar, still short, and will remain short on it until I'm out of it, really. But I like it at the minute. And any opportunities to get in to shorts would be ADR hits to the upside, pushes RSI extensions on the hourly, the 4 hourly, usual stuff at the minute on that one. New Zealand's. So obviously you can see this one's got a very strong Canadian dollar move. But the New Zealand's, we've had that rate announcement on these New Zealand's now, which is good. They've put it up by 0.5%, their interest rates, which is good because it means they're still committed to getting on top of inflation. The next time their inflationary figures come out will be really telling as to how well they're doing it. But their forecasts for inflation came out slightly worse, although not as bad as a lot of other countries. So because they're so small from an economic perspective, they're very much linked into commodities and things and the movements that we have on those. So I think you've got to still look at short on all of these New Zealands. We've got a nice sort of expanding range building here, broadening formations. So looking for it to get back down somewhere down there and then potentially some kind of bounce back. So I would be looking for shorts when we get these bounces back up into ADR highs and RSI extensions on lower timeframes potentially. So you had one there just, I mean, that was very difficult to get into. M5, you'd have got into it there quite nicely. Just about had one there, but these, you know, this is, I mean, with these strong ones, this is why I did all this retesting on the RSIs. Yeah, if you drop down to a 14, you are going to get more entries, obviously, because it's a faster RSI. So that would have been definite entry. That would have become a definite entry. That was obviously an entry already on the 21 anyway. But when you get caught at the wrong side of it, you're in that squeeze a lot earlier and a lot more painfully. So, you know, it's horses for courses. You've got to kind of pick what works for you as a trader. If you're using stops at the moment, yes, I would definitely say the 14 is probably the better RSI to use. If you're position trading, I would probably stick with the 21. But a lot of people will be looking at this as that's our area of balance, and we've tapped it 3 times and respected it now. So there's the top of your range. We're coming down to bottom of range here. Likely we're going to take that liquidity out there. How far we go, don't know. But when we get down to there, we should see that pullback. How far that pullback will go, don't know. But I would be looking basically for short opportunities on this one. So any pullbacks up into ADR of any kind or any RSI extensions to the upside will be what I'll be looking for. New Zealand dollar Swiss. Didn't quite get the RSI extensions on it. Lovely short opportunity in line with trend. You know, these pullbacks at the moment on these tough, strong trends, very difficult to get into. But again, 14 obviously would have got you in. Not quite. 14 would have got you in there. 14 would have also got you in there. That. And there. That. And again, you can test all this. If you've got the EA, you can test all of this. The 21, you wouldn't have got that one. You'd have to be very brave to take that one anyway, because that was the Swiss franc rate announcement. So you'd have to have been brave to take that reversal. But wouldn't have got that second one there. You would have got that one there. You know, it's horses for courses, isn't it? Shorts. New Zealand dollar yen, still shorts on this one. Again, more short bias because of potential yen strain, morning mace. But again, not really keen at the minute. So any kind of pullbacks into ADR on this one, that's not really a very good propulsion gap. As you can see, it's more of a shaped recovery rather than accumulation drop. So with the propulsion gaps, you're looking for these to form after an accumulation. So they're a sign of the banks accumulating positions and then breaking. Those are the good ones. Those are the ones that get defended. A-shaped recoveries, you know, like this one, and this one. That one's not too bad. This one's not too bad because you've got an accumulation for 4 hours before it. But this one here, there is just part of a down move. It's just a strong part of a down move. And that's what you're seeing on the 4 hour on this one as well. Look, just a strong move down. Yeah, if there was 4 or 5 bars or so like that, then that happened. I'd be paying interest to that, but I'm not. So shorts on it really, but can't really find a way to get in on it at the moment. Entries were up there. Nothing exciting. New Zealand dollar, US dollar shorts, obviously, again, very, very similar, difficult to get into. You want to look at your lower time frames if you want to get into positions on these, because it's just not pulling back fast or hard. So again, nice flag formation we had, which is now broken to the downside. So retest of those lows, and then probably take those lows out, pull back a little bit. But again, I'm looking for shorts. So RSI extensions on the hourly, again, prime example, wouldn't have got it on the 21, on the 14. You'd have had an entry signal there, there, and there. Maybe I might start scalping on the funded account. Was a 14 on these trends, because I don't really mind. You know, if I'm using a stop on the funded account, so I'm not position trading it. So I might start looking at that as another option for fundeds while the market's trending so hard on a lot of this stuff. So yeah, nice little short opportunities when you can get them. US dollar CAD. I've been looking for a pullback on the US dollar CAD to try and get in long. We didn't quite get that deep pullback. I was looking for us to get down into this area, into the 24.72 zone, and I was looking for long opportunities out of that. We didn't quite get there last week, and we just ran away again. So again, no entry, couldn't get in on it. The hourly gave you just about an entry there, and you got an entry opportunity there. I had the pound US dollar on at the time, and I was fairly deep at the pound US dollar at the time there before I got out of it. So I couldn't really take this and overload myself anymore on US dollar, but that was your entry. Lovely hourly reversal alert, and obviously you'd have had 15-minute reversal alerts in there, or 5-minute reversal alerts in there as well. So that was your entry on that one. Played out very nicely. US dollar Swiss, I'm just still not interested in US dollar Swiss. Just a mess. This price action is just horrible. I don't like it at all. I will like it up here. I will be interested up here in potentially taking a short, depending on what's happening with the US dollar. Obviously, if we get up to here on Wednesday, I'm not going to trade it because we've got FOMC. But I like it from there. Apart from that, I really don't have any bias on this one at all. You know, the US and the Swiss are both strong. The Swiss is strong in fits and starts. The US is more grindy strong. So, you know, it's a strong against a strong. Therefore, you get a lot of US dollar in charge, Swiss franc in charge, Swiss franc in charge, US dollar, Swiss franc. Yeah, Swiss franc rate change, Swiss franc in charge for a week. Have a little rest, US dollar. You know, that's what you're getting. So it's all very much driven by fundamentals. So it's all to do with the FOMC and what they do and say over the next couple of days, obviously on Wednesday. So really got no idea on this one at the minute. This area here, obviously where we are now, we're just taking the liquidity at these highs. So you can watch this one today for this double top sweep, which is exactly what we're doing potentially now. So if this candle breaks down below and closes below, or we get a reversal back down below, likelihood is we've just done a liquidity run and we're going to pull back down into here somewhere. So that's something you can watch today. Obviously, you're going to get the reversal on M5, which is going to be somewhere around there at the moment. We're just putting a new one in, so it's going to be even tighter. But I want to see it close below that level before I got interested in shorting it, really. And US dollar yen, same thing as the rest. Massive long, but right now, massive unknown. No idea. Again, you can see what's happening with this. This is a really good indication of how fundamentals drive the market. Yeah. You've got something that's just accumulating, and there's the intervention. There's US news. Yeah, it's just nothing until you get news. So you know, at the moment, this is what we should be looking for, because Japan said they're intervening and not going to let it go any further. What's happened? It's pulled straight back because they've said nothing, and it's the market's like, well, you're not doing anything about it. So the US is obviously stronger. We're going to continue. But this is the level, this 145, where they are not interested in letting it go above. And we're back above it now. So is this now, this week, going to be where the Bank of Japan now intervenes again? At any moment, you can have that news like this dashboard up, and it's like, right, okay, bang, this thing's going to come down at a rate of knots. Or not, don't know. But, you know, we know the Bank of Japan said enough's enough. They said they called 135, didn't they? Yeah. Back here, we were down here, and they said, we will not let it get above 135. And that's what I said, didn't I? I said, long it up to 135, because that's where it's going, because that's what the Bank of Japan have said that they will tolerate. So therefore, the market moved it up there because the Bank of Japan said that's okay. And then they got cross and said, we're going to do something about this. Didn't do anything about it. We thought, oh, hang on, might do something about this. And then they didn't. And then they've said again, we'll do something about it. 145, we're not happy to let it go above there. You know, it's just, they're not doing anything about it. Why? Because they can't. They've been buying so much yen over the last couple of years, which has been obviously devalued massively against the US dollar. All they're doing is they're sitting on a load of stuff they bought, which is now worth less than it was when they bought it. They're stuffed. They haven't got any money to buy more stuff because they've been buying something that's going down in price. You know, so how are they going to intervene with bond purchases? You know, you can sell as many bonds as you like in the end, but are people interested in buying them? No, because it's weak. So it's very difficult to see how they're going to dig themselves out of this, but they are notorious for doing it. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. But at the moment, US dollar yen, business as usual. So I'm not interested in anything yen at the minute, really not. Unless it's something really, you know, if something really sticks out for no reason whatsoever. We get up to there, we get an RSI extension, we get an ADR extension, it's there, and we get a reversal alert with massive bearish engulfing or a 3-bar reversal. Yeah, I would probably then take a trade like that, which I did on the Swiss yen, didn't I? I took that lovely short on, Euro yen. Took a lovely short on the Euro yen. Played out beautifully, but I got out of it very, very fast. Don't want to stay in the yen because at any moment they can just flick a switch on it. Same with the euro, obviously. Any market can flick a switch on the euro at any moment when Putin says something. So, yeah. But that's all the pairs. So that's everything covered. Again, today, just be wary today. You've got no US session this afternoon. So quite likely we've had it this morning. Oh, why didn't I take it? That was your break. This is where I said if we break down below this level here, this high, we got nice. I wasn't watching, but that is exactly where I would have shorted it on these wicks. Hindsight, missed it though. So now likelihood is we're going to come back down and retest this propulsion gap. So again, accumulation, propulsion. Next time we retest that, we'll probably find some buyers stepping in. 600. So I'm putting a sell stop in. I'm going to have one more crack at this short. I'm just going to stick this on the funded as well. Okay. So yeah. Likelihood is we're going to get a run down to there. I'll add on to this as well. Once we get a bit of traction, I'll add another position on. If it gets triggered, obviously. Okay, that's all. Anybody got anything else they want to discuss or look at this morning? But as I say, it's not a great day for trading today. Although we're going to get a fair movement in some of these. But you see, you know, remember what I said? Look at what's moving at the moment. The yens, yeah. This happens a lot. We manipulate the currency that's on holiday. It's like, you know, it's like the teacher, when the teacher's back's turned and looking at the blackboard or whiteboard or whatever it is these days. That's when they get things flipped at the minute. Japan's not working today, so we start manipulating the yen because they can't do anything about it. They're not there. It's always the way. But yeah, we got some fairly decent US strength. Well, I say fairly decent. There's a few things moving, but be very wary at the moment. Ladder, just an idea. I'm not sure if that is available in the UK, but for your trading on indices, did you discount warrants yet? Try discount warrants. I don't know. I don't even know what a discount warrant is. No idea. That is foreign terminology to me. I don't know what that is, but probably not available in the UK. I don't know. Never heard the term, so. Is that an instrument or is that a way of trading? Don't know what it is. Right, so that's all from me for this morning. Oh, hang on. Putin, all decisions on mobilization must be fulfilled. All decisions on mobilization must be fulfilled. Okay. Don't know what that means. Ladder, it is an ETP. Exchange traded product, I guess that means. Yeah, I don't think we've got them in the UK. Don't forget also, I'm limited by what I can trade in my prop accounts. So, you know, the prop accounts don't have stuff like that. It's basically main CFDs on indices, commodities, and FX. Ladder, I don't know what you're talking about. Sorry for the German page, but that would be the product. I guess you could stick the ISIN into your finance page for looking into it. Don't even know what that is. You're talking something foreign. I don't know. Indices, FX, commodities. Other than that, I'm just not interested. My brain can't handle anymore. That's why I don't trade crypto. I can't. I'm a strong believer, firm believer in if you do not understand a product, you cannot trade it. You should not be trading it. If you don't know what moves something, you can't trade it. So if a new product comes onto the market that I've never seen before, unless there's a detailed description on exactly why that thing moves and how it moves, I'm not going to trade it. It's like all this stuff, you know, everyone's trading these V75 indexes and stuff. It's all broker manipulated. Why people are trading it, I don't know. It's something created by a broker to be manipulated by a broker. Why would you want to trade something that your broker has complete control over? Yeah, it's alien to me. It's like, you know, it's like walking into a casino and then saying you can put something on red or black and them knowing whether it's going to be red or black next. Why would you do that? You're going to lose, aren't you? Because they already know the outcome because they have control over the outcome. You know, it's just, you know, you've got to understand what you're trading. And if you don't understand what drives things, then just trade stuff that you do understand or trade with FX because FX is really simple. It's driven by fundamentals. Yeah. Economics, fundamentals. And that's why a lot of people trade FX because it's simple to understand because, you know, if something comes out and this is green or red, that's fundamentally which way that affects that currency. So if you get a load of green news coming out on something, you should be looking to long it. It's really easy, isn't it? But there's a lot of other stuff out there that, you know, is just confusing. Putin just saying he won't stop till he's achieved his objectives. Yeah, that's kind of what I read into that. It's not. Sometimes they word things a little bit. I think it's to do a little bit lost in translation. All decisions on mobilization must be fulfilled. What I think that probably should have said is everything we have decided that we are going to do, we will do. I.e., we've planned to mobilize into these areas. We will do that. I guess that's kind of what that is saying in a very hard to understand way. It's our dating site back again. I'm not going to report it because I'm not bothered. Ladder, it's quite easy. They are around for years, and yes, that is their underlying is the DAX or SP. Oh, right, okay. So they're just something that trades on top of an index. Yeah, but again, you know, my point would be, why bother? Why not just trade the index? Yeah, if you've got something that's tracking the DAX, why not trade the DAX? Surely trade the thing that is actually driving the thing that you're following. You know, you got all these things that are linked to something else that track this, that, and the other. Well, trade the thing. You know, the DAX is sitting there, fully tradable. I haven't come across a broker that doesn't have indices on it. Just trade the indices. Unless you're not allowed to, in which case they've made something else, then that would explain it. But it's not what we have in the UK. So, what's the advantage of trading very liquid, the very liquid cash market? Exactly. Yeah, that's what Andy's just said. What I just said, basically. You know, this is where all the liquidity is. If you've got something that's tracking this, you're trading in effect the underlying liquidity in this, aren't you? But it's manipulatable. Yeah. If I'm your broker showing you the quote on that thing that is trading the DAX, I might want to quote it there because I know that there's a load of stops there. So I'll quote it up there so I can take all these people's money that have just gone short there. And this is what I mean by all these volatility indexes everybody's trading on Deriv. Deriv is the most crooked broker out there. They create stuff. It's like me setting up a virtual horse racing game where I know the outcome of every one of those because I programmed all the virtual horse racing. You don't know the outcome, so you bet on those horses. I know exactly what's going to happen, so I can adjust the odds in my book to make sure I win 100% of the time. Why would you do that? Binary options. Why would you trade binary options? They can be manipulated. Everything can be manipulated, as we know, but trade with what the central banks are manipulating rather than what your brokers are getting involved in. Because at the end of the day, the broker's job is to make you press a button. Every time you press the button, they make money out of spread and they make money out of commission. So their job, your broker, is the only reason your broker exists is to make you press those buttons. Every time you press buy and you press sell, they make money. They don't give a monkeys whether you make money or not. Their job is to make you press buttons, which is why they will give you this lovely free education about stuff, which is usually revolving around when you see that, put your stop there, because they know damn well that it will come up and double top. They can widen the spread to take your money and make you press the button again. That's their job, making you press buttons. What's it all about? It's working with a strike and a cap. So I'm short at the moment on the DAX at a strike of 13. Oh God, I just don't understand it. I can't go into it. I don't understand it. I can't trade it, so as long as the price stays below 1280, that would be a profit of around 5 point. Oh, so it's like binary options. Yeah, run a mile. Yeah, run a mile. It's a form of options. It's not binary options. It's similar. You've probably got a scaled. It's a kind of a scaled binary option, isn't it? Yeah, I don't know. There's all sorts of stuff out there you can trade. It's like everything, you know, binary options was massively popular at one point. Everybody was going on about binary options. There was loads of ads flying all over Facebook about binary options. And then when everyone realized it was just one massive scam, they ran a mile because it had the word options in it. Everyone thought they were trading options. They weren't. They were just literally trading movement up and down. So it's exactly the same as red and black in a casino, but every binary options broker had built in a profit factor. So they could fail to make money. There was no binary options broker in the world that could ever not make money, because every time they paid you less than when you lost. Couldn't lose. But you could win big, couldn't you? Exactly the same as you can in a casino. You can get 6 blacks in a row in a casino and double down every time and walk away a millionaire. You can also lose 6 times in a row, and that's when they make their money. I haven't seen binary options advert. Is binary options still even going? I don't know. I haven't seen an advert for it for a long time. Used to have them in the Telegram group all the time. Every other ad in the Telegram group from the spammers and scammers was all about binary options. It's a banned word in the Telegram group. Now you're instantly banned if you use the word binary options. Well, you don't. You get a block. You get a temporary block. But don't go and do that now, because obviously you'll get blocked. Everyone's going to start talking about binary options in the Telegram group now and get banned. Anyway, yeah. So yeah, just be careful. Yeah, as long as you understand what you're trading, that's fine. You know. Right, I'll leave it there, boys and girls. I'll be back tomorrow morning, 7:50. As I say, I've got this short on the DAX. I'm going to add. I'm going to add when we push down, if we push down, and aim will be to get back down into this area. Other than that, I don't think I'm going to trade it today. Because I don't think we're going to get much movement. We've obviously got no movement this afternoon. So what I've got on, which is literally just oil at the moment, which isn't going anywhere, and pound US dollar, which is going down. Lovely. So there's my exit on the pound US dollar. Again, propulsion gap, accumulation, propulsion. That's my target. So when I say we're not going to move much today, you know, very unlikely we'll get ADRs unless there's a lot of manipulation, but we can still move. But what you'll find is the likelihood is you'll end up roughly back somewhere around where you were. So the daily candles will look something like that. So you can still get movement, but actual directional movement, i.e. a down candle and stuff, that's kind of not what we're going to get. We'll still get the market moving up and down because the algos are still running, but unlikely we get a lot of directional today. But we'll see. We'll find out tomorrow. So I'll have a look tomorrow and see where we are. Keep your eyes peeled. Oh my God, we've had an ADR look. Yeah, very weak Australian dollar this morning. The market's not happy with the Aussie, obviously, at the minute. So yeah, ADR hit on the Aussie CAD, wrong way though. Looking for shorts on it. So be very careful if you're trying to revert that. Right, I'll leave it there. Anything you need, come in the Telegram group. If you want to discuss EA settings and stuff like that, obviously we can discuss all that stuff in the Telegram group. But I'll be back tomorrow morning, 7:50, same time. We'll have a look at where we are and get prepared for FOMC on Wednesday. And hopefully try and get some positions on if we get something gets extended. All right, so have a good one. I'll be back tomorrow morning, 7:50, and see you then.